Welcome beautiful people to another video where I respond to comments. These are comments where I could have technically just replied to them, but I decided to just clip them and screenshot them and just reply to them just through voice. Let's get into some of the comments right now. Oh, by the way, before I get into this is not in Jacksonville. This is actually in Miami. I have a lot of, GoPro camera footage still left over in Miami that I never used, and I thought this was a good footage. This is somewhere within downtown Miami, close to the Miami Heat Arena or Bayfront Park, if anybody knows what I'm talking about. But in any case, let's get into the comments. Alright, so the first comment is, I was wondering what are your thoughts for bronchhydrosis or hyperhidrosis? So hyperhidrosis has to do with excessive sweating, and if you sweat excessively, you might experience more body odor underneath, any type of apocrine glands like your underarms, groin. I think even in between your ass cheeks. Are there like apocrine glands in your ass cheeks? I'm not sure. I know it definitely is within your groin and your underarms, and then the majority of the skin in the rest of your body are apocrine glands. So if you sweat excessively, like I do, you will tend to sweat out any type of deodorant, typical deodorant. This is why for me, even if I didn't have this weird metabolic condition, or if I think it's a metabolic, some rare disorder that causes me to smell horrific to people, even though I can't detect it. Even if I didn't have that condition, I still have hyperhidrosis. So I tend to sweat, like if I did like moderate exercise for 10 minutes, my face is going to start to sweat. It's going to be like, you're going to see sweat all over my face. You're going to see sweat on my back. If I start to walk, maybe just 20 minutes and it's sunny outside, I'm going to feel the sweat on my chest, my back, my face, my butt, everywhere. I tend to sweat more than most people. Whenever I'm around people, like if I'm at a gym, even when I used to play football, like I would sweat way faster than everybody else. In school, when I was in PE, and I had to work out with people, people would barely sweat for a little bit compared to what I had to deal with. So I know I have hyperhidrosis. On top of that, now I have this weird condition that makes me smell terrible because of certain foods, or at least I'm naturally thinking, and that is the combination of hyperhidrosis plus this weird odor condition that I can't really explain makes my experiences like 2 times worse. But bronchhydrosis, I had to do a little bit of looking into. I've heard about it for years, but it seems like it's more so like a skin condition or something like that. But when I looked into it, light research into it, it seems as though that it could be attributed to diet, poor hygiene, or metabolic disorders. I have never heard bronchhydrosis being connected to metabolic disorders at all until recently. So I guess they're like redefining it as like a catch-all term for any type of odor that they can't really explain. It's not just some natural, musty body odor. So technically, I guess I have bronchhydrosis if it can just be either identified as poor hygiene, diet related, or metabolic disorder. I guess technically everybody who is experiencing unusual body odor has bronchhydrosis. But I think there's something more to it. Again, it just feels like a catch-all term because people don't understand, or people have not really narrowed down the metabolic disorders, why some people smell like this if they eat this thing, or the people smell like that if they eat something else. But yeah, if you do have bronchhydrosis and hyperhidrosis, which technically I have both, if it's a metabolic disorder, it's also considered a metabolic disorder, fine. That makes your life 2 times as hard. So I don't know. There was a situation in college where I used to think that the odor was just through the sweat, because I noticed that I got more reactions. So I went to a dermatologist to get some type of pill, some type of medication that that had the ability to dry you out. The side effect, the primary reason for the pill was for something else, but its side effect was it dehydrated you, which causes you to sweat less. And I remember talking to a dermatologist about that, and I specifically only wanted to get it for that reason. So I used it in college, and boy, it really dehydrated you. Like you had dry throat throughout the whole day. You could drink 8 glasses of water, back to back to back. Your throat is so dry. Your mouth is so dry. It was like hell. But I thought to myself, hey, well, if I stop sweating, maybe I won't get as many reactions. So I, continued to use it. Nonetheless, I still got reactions, even though I didn't sweat. So I was like unsweaty. I was unsweaty. I had a dry ass mouth and a dry ass throat, but still got reactions. And I feel like I even got more reactions, regardless, compared to if I just sweat normally. So that was so weird. But yeah, man, it's if you have bromhydrosis and hyperhidrosis combined, you're cursed, bro. You're double cursed. But next comment. All right, so the next comment is, do your breath smell? Because I had hits that my breath smelled bad. I can't even smell it in the morning time, putting my head under the covers. Right. So I don't know. Again, I can't detect my odor, whether it's through my breath or through my skin. I can only go off of reactions. And there's plenty of times where I'm not really evaluating the reaction properly, because, just because someone rubs their nose doesn't mean that you smell terrible. Sometimes it's just, like, I don't know, they just have something in their nose, or something is just making their nose itch. But many of the times, at least for me, I feel like having this for so long, I do read it correctly, even though I do have paranoia, and I have to acknowledge that every now and then I'm probably going to misread some body language. But in terms of breath, the only time I never heard someone say verbally, man, his breath stinks. I never heard someone say verbally his breath stinks. But there'd be some times where I would go out and I would talk to somebody. I would go to a store and talk to somebody, ask them a question. And once I start talking to them, I see that they immediately rub their nose. And I always think that is just so weird. Is that an indication that my breath smells terrible? Not really. Because with this condition, there's just so much more to it, that maybe my breath doesn't smell, but there's this irritant chemical that when I say something to them, it automatically flares up their nose, or makes their nose itch, or make their nostrils irritated in some way. So maybe it's not even a bad smell. Maybe it's like there's just this chemical irritant that goes through their noses, which causes them to rub their nose or something like that. It has to be something to that effect, because there's been plenty of people I have a number of examples where I'm like talking to somebody and they have bad breath, but I don't rub my nose immediately. So there must be like an extra chemical, an extra layer of some type of irritation or something that is just disturbing their senses, which causes them to rub their nose. But again, maybe it is bad breath, and what I'm suggesting, it's some type of irritation of some chemical that's coming out of my breath. But I'm not entirely sure. I don't have to put my head underneath the covers in order to smell it, because I can't smell anything. I just have typical bad, like, of course, like when you wake up in the morning, and if you put your hand close to your mouth and you breathe out your mouth, your mouth is gonna smell bad. But I don't think I have some extraordinary body odor that I can detect. But again, I can't even really detect this unknown odor that people suggest I have. So who knows? That's how I see it. Next comment. All right, so the next comment says, do you know about cheap chlorophyll, namely green grass jelly? I have never heard of green grass jelly, but it sounds very interesting. Here's my thoughts about chlorophyll. Um, I don't know if it works. That's my talk. That's my TED talk, and everyone have a good day. No, but yeah, I don't know. It's weird because technically you can get chlorophyll from any type of green vegetable. Maybe within many of the products, the chlorophyll is more concentrated. And I recall reading some article that said that was basically questioning if chlorophyll really has the benefits of it being an internal deodorizer. And there was some study that sort of suggested that it didn't have those capabilities. So I still take chlorophyll. Well, currently I take chlorophyll. I took it on and off, but now I'm taking chlorophyll again, and I don't know. Maybe it is doing something. Some people suggest that it is effective. I personally don't feel. I don't know. I can't determine this, so I can't say. Definitely, I never tried the green grass jelly chlorophyll. I've taken the liquid chlorophyll, and I've taken these supplements that have chlorophyll, and then there was like chlorella, and then there's spirulina, like all the little green. It's like these like products that all suggest, ooh, if you take these things, you'll never smell bad ever again. I don't know. I need to start doing an effective test. You know what I've been thinking about doing? I've been thinking about making videos of trying certain products to see if it really is effective. Like, let's say, for example, chlorophyll. Let's say I do it for 30 days. I just drink like 100 milligrams of chlorophyll every day, and then I do like a sniff test on my underarms, and then possibly like in my breath, and see if my breath is fresher or my underarms are fresher. I think that would be pretty interesting because I've always I'm just completely unsure. By the way, I'm actually in Whole Foods. If anybody didn't know, I'm in a Whole Foods. But in any case, so yeah, maybe it'd be cool to do like some type of 30-day progress of just drinking chlorophyll, 100 milligrams of chlorophyll every day, and see what the fuck happens. Maybe even take 200 milligrams because 100 milligrams to me is like 1 tablespoon, right? But yeah, just to answer the question, I have never tried green grass jelly. On to the next comment. All right, it says something just occurred to me. In the older video, you said you ate so much chocolate cake that your pee turned brown and smelled sweet. Sometimes when I eat certain foods, my urine takes on the smell of that food too. Perhaps a contributing factor in your condition is malabsorption. Your body's not breaking down food properly, regardless of how much you eat. I don't think your urine is supposed to smell like any kind of food. Side note, I recently did an expensive microbiome test, and these were my results. Dysbiosis, leaky gut, malabsorption, immune system issues, some inflammatory markers, no parasites or candida, producing normal levels of digestive enzymes, negative for H. pylori. I don't know if this will help at all, as everyone is obviously different, but might give you some clues as to what might be happening to you. Yeah. So, yeah, a couple of things I wanted to say. Yeah, I used to think that that was weird. There was this vlog where I was talking about, I think it was on my birthday, and my mother bought me some chocolate cake at a Whole Foods. It was a Whole Foods chocolate cake, and I started eating it. And I don't know, maybe it was the next day or a couple of hours later after eating the chocolate cake that my urine smelled sweet. It smelled delicious. I'm like, damn, that's some delicious SP. But seriously, like it smelled like some delicious, like some savory piss. Savory. What am I talking about? Okay, but seriously, yeah, yeah. I used to think that was, oh, maybe this is a sign of something. But I recall last year I went to a geneticist, and I actually remarked or told them about the fact that there was this one time where I ate some cake, chocolate cake, and my urine smelled very sweet. And she said, okay, that's actually normal. once the geneticist broke it down to me how normal that is, that's not actually anything unusual. That's something everybody deals with. Then I was like, oh, okay. I thought that was like a malabsorption, like just like you thought it was a malabsorption or some type of issue where my body's not breaking stuff down. I don't think it's. I don't know. I don't know, man. I just recently took a test. Went to not a general physician, a primary care physician, and according to all the tests I had, like my kidneys, my liver, my organs are all fine. They are apparently everything's working as according. So I'm not sure. I don't. I'm thinking maybe there should be some type of advanced form of testing for my liver and something like that, but I don't know how to do that. And I remember asking the doctor, like, okay, well, this tested just for like the primary functions of the liver to see if things are working according. What if would you suggest if I take anything more advanced to see if this it might cause some it might show that there might be some error or something's not functioning properly? And he said I wouldn't advise that. So I don't know if I should really take that doctor's word, but I do think there is something that's not working properly. Within my vlog, what was it, vlog 94, 95, where I was talking about the United, what's it called, Undiagnosed Disease Network, and there was this video on YouTube where there was this kid who had some weird condition where his body wasn't functioning, he was not able to walk sometimes or even run, and when they uncovered what it was wrong, he had some type of gene mutation that caused it, that did something where his body was not able to break down something, which caused a buildup of something, which ultimately made him incapable of walking properly or using motor skills. And I feel like that's the same thing I have. Like there is just something, there's some type of gene mutation. Maybe it's not a gene. Well, it could be gene mutation where something is not processing correctly, and it's causing a buildup of something, which overall just makes me smell offensive. So, yeah. In terms of what you were talking about with the taking some type of microbiome test, I took a microbiome test a couple of years ago, and there really wasn't anything that stood out. I don't know. It was, wow, damn, what was it called? What was that? I forgot what this microbiome test was called, but I think it's funny. I think that organization was in trouble. They did something illegal, and I think the FBI looked into it or something and shut the business down or something. I forgot what the name of the business was called, but I remember taking that, and since I think it got shut down, I can't retrieve them anymore. I thought about doing like microbiome tests annually, but I don't know if that really does anything, because the first time I did it, I didn't see anything remarkable or notable to talk about. So yeah, there's that. But yeah, that's it for me. I mean, yeah, I tested negative for H. pylori. I take digestive enzymes all the time because, again, I think there's something that's not being broken down. I don't believe in parasites or candida, but yeah, on to the next question. Alright, so this comment says, wow, a whole hotline. Also, I apologize if this has been answered, but when you visited the last doctor that requested a stool sample, did that doctor smell you at all? Here's the thing about the history of doctors I visited and their reactions. I would say I don't know how many doctors I have visited within the last 18 years of having this condition, but many of them have not showed any type of visible reaction, except a couple. Like the most recent one was a primary care physician. The first time I went, I started noticing these. Like first time I went, I was assisted by a doctor's assistant, and she started rubbing her nose and stuff every now and then. And then when the final actual doctor came in and he was talking to me, then he eventually started rubbing in his nose. Like it was just weird. And I think once you get two people to rub, it's one thing if one person rubs their nose because it could mean that maybe they have allergies or something. But if two people in a room, one person comes in the room and then the second person comes in the room and then they start rubbing their noses as well, I just think that's too much of a coincidence. But in terms of the doctor, that I did a stool sample, and I think the stool sample was just to determine if I have like H. pylori, something like that. Yeah, there wasn't anything. There was no indication that I was offensive to him. So he took my word. He at least looked into. He took me seriously, which some doctors don't. So he started ordering tests. But the only two tests he ordered was H. pylori and pancreatic elastase. So that's another thing that I was going to talk about. I really want to rule out all the different conditions or all the different things people suggest is the cause. So they say, oh, I think I have SIBO. I think the issue has to do with SIBO. And I don't think I ever took a SIBO test in my life. I don't think I have SIBO. When I look into like the different different symptoms of SIBO, clearly I don't have it. But I would like to just definitely get definite evidence I don't have SIBO, so then people can stop saying, "Oh, this is SIBO," or "This is gut." What is it called? What's this other common people said? Gut dysbiosis. I'm like, I don't think I have gut dysbiosis, but who knows? But yeah, another thing she mentioned is the hotline, and there is a rare disease hotline for anyone who's not aware. For any type of condition, it's done by the organization called GUARD. So I'm trying to use GUARD in order to maybe get a diagnosis. They linked a lot of information that, oh, is a woman in red pants have a fat ass? I'm sorry, I got distracted. This was such a long time ago. I bet she did. But in any case, GUARD offers like a library list of just so many rare conditions, and you know, I obviously didn't look through all of them, but it'd be funny if within that list there was one of those conditions that's actually I'm actually dealing with, but I'm never gonna know because most doctors are not going to help you, especially if they can't identify what's wrong with you. It's funny, like I know I already answered the question, but it just reminds me of something else that just recently happened. I was trying to get another endocrinologist appointment in Jacksonville, obviously. And first off, I was explaining to like I don't know, the agents or the nurses. I guess they're nurses, that I have this condition that makes me smell, and I think it's linked to puberty or hormones and whatever the case. And they told me, okay, well, if that's the case, well, you need to at least give us your test results from previous doctors in order for us to take it seriously. So then I had to call up these other doctors that were in Miami, and I would call them up every day, and I always get their answering machine. And then finally I was able to get a hold of the two different offices, and they sent the test results. So then I send over the test results through email to the endocrinologist, and eventually they're like, oh, okay, we got your test results. We'll call you and then we'll schedule something. So I'm like, all right. So then I had to wait a couple of more days. They finally called me up, right? And when they finally called me up, they're like, okay, well, you know, they started saying, okay, we're gonna set you up an appointment. What day would you like? And I was like, okay, we'll do something in April. And then the last question she asked me was like, oh, so what condition do you have? And I said, I don't know what condition I have. I think it's an undiagnosed one. And she's like, oh, well, what type of condition do you want the doctor to treat you with? Do you have diabetes? Do you have whatever condition? She was listing out a number of conditions that's related to endocrinology. I was like, I don't know what I have. I know I have this undiagnosed illness that causes me to smell bad when I eat food. I noticed that this started occurring when I was a teenager, so I think it's related to hormones. This is why I want to be evaluated by the doctor, maybe do some type of test, and maybe you have some insight onto what it is. It's like, oh, well, I don't think the doctor can treat you with the illness that you have. And I'm like, I'm not here for being treated. I'm here to be evaluated, for the doctor to tell me, or give me some insight as to possible clues that could be the issue. But then she just said, oh, well, I got to talk to somebody about that before I can even schedule you. And then she hung up the phone, and then I never heard from her again. Like, the incompetence of fucking I think these are fucking nurses. Just because they couldn't figure out, I just couldn't say I had diabetes, or I should have said I had menopause. Oh, yeah, I have menopause. I have male menopause. Just so I can get my foot in the door and speak to a doctor who's actually, I don't want to talk to a fucking stupid nurse who's like, oh, well, we need to know what your condition is so we can treat it. Bitch, I want to talk to a doctor because I have some I have some unknown condition I'm trying to fucking figure out. In any case, I know this is a rant. I didn't want to rant. I think I answered the comment. Let's go to the next comment. All right. So the next comment is, have you thought of trying fecal microbiota transplantation? There's YouTube videos about it. Yeah, so I've been hearing this for the last maybe 3 to 5 years about fecal microbiota. Is it called transplantation? Whatever. Where basically someone who has a healthy colon or something, they have like healthy microbiome. What they do is like they get I guess the bacteria, healthy bacteria, and put it within your colon, and it has helped people with IBS issues, etc. I haven't seen any YouTube videos about it, but I think I read something about that. And I remember when I used to go on this forum, some people would talk about that, and they're like, oh, I should try the fecal microbiota transplant something. And I've heard stories where someone did it and now they're cured, or at least, the thing is, I don't know the person, so I can't even that's the thing. The weird thing about this, I don't know if I should call it a community, but it's a bunch of folks who smell smelly, who smell bad, and they just get together and talk about how bad they smell. I don't know if that's really a community or anything, but yeah. The thing is, sometimes people mention, oh, I heard that there's this one person who tried this, but they don't really like put names on faces. Actually, most people don't even show their face, to be honest. They don't put names out there so you can contact them and ask them questions like, oh, you tried this, so what were you suffering from? And ask, all the important details. Yo, that food that I'm actually putting in the whole food, that shit tasted good. It was chocolate with granola, and it was it had like granola chunks and clusters. Maybe it had some coconut. It just tasted really good. It was it pretty much was a cookie. I don't even want to I want to call it a brownie, but it wasn't really a brownie. I want to call it a cookie, but it wasn't really a cookie. It was like granola chocolate something. It tasted delicious. I just remember seeing it I just saw it on the video, and I'm like, damn, I remember that shit tasted so good. In any case, back to what I was saying. I really hate when I hear no names like these John Doe tried this product, John Doe did this thing, and he got cured, and we can't even confirm it. It could just be hearsay. People could just make stuff up about it, and I don't even know. I think I remember why I put this back. I think this shit cost like $17 to $18 just for psyllium husk. Bro, are you out your fucking mind? Like, everything is just getting expensive. $17 for powder, bruh? Get the fuck out. This is not like protein powder. This is like fiber supplement powder, and $17 for that. Oh, hell no. In any case, back to the comment. Fecal microbiota transplantation, right? So, man, I've heard that it helps somebody, but I can't confirm that because I don't know who that somebody is. And the thing about people who say that I've cured myself, they cured themselves, right? By doing whatever, taking whatever supplement, doing whatever diet, doing whatever, I don't know, surgery or whatnot. Like, who knows if the thing comes back? they say that, oh yeah, it cured me and it came back, but they're not. Let's say it does come back or something like that. They're never gonna tell people it came back. Like they're just gonna disappear off the internet forever, and just be one of those guys who just wander around, but never comment on anything and never really admit that you know whatever thing that they were selling or they suggested was the cure all actually wasn't the cure all, and now they still smell like goat's ass. You know, um, that's the issue I have with people. But maybe it will cure me. I'm just not like a fan of um, someone putting dookie in my dookie hole in order to make my whole body smell better, because that's what it pretty much is. Someone scooping out dookie in another man's dookie hole and then placing it in my dookie hole. Okay, maybe it's something more complex, but this is essential. I'm just laying down the essentials right here. You're scooping out dookie from a healthy colon. You got some healthy ass dookie, and then you put in somebody else's booty hole who doesn't have healthy dookie, and apparently that's supposed to cure them from IBS symptoms. Now, maybe now they don't have to deal with diarrhea or constipation because of someone's healthy dookie. The bacteria in someone's healthy dookie. This shit's crazy, bruh. That's weird and gross. Just thinking about it. But I might try it one day. Anyways, next comment. Alright, so this is the last comment for this whole video. And it says, "Hi, I hope you read this. In my research, I found that if your test comes back negative, it may very well mean that you have a liver shunt. Your veins are running around your liver and not through it properly. Trimethylamine is not being ran through your liver, being broken down properly. This is causing the smell. Studies have shown that once an operation to redirect the veins through the liver was done, the sufferer no longer smelled. This question to you also: what is your blood type? Are you AB? I have a theory on liver shunts." Okay, I did some light research into liver shunt because I'm like, I never heard of this. And yeah, basically what she's saying, like there's an abnormal connection that goes around your portal connection or something. It's like some type of connection with your veins that's going around to a different connection of your veins or something like that. That's such a bad description of it. You can look into it yourself. But when I was looking into it, I saw a lot of information about dogs and veterinarians and all this other type of stuff. And it seems as though, just do light research, that liver shunts affect mainly dogs. It affects mainly dogs. Maybe also affects humans, probably. But it mainly affects dogs because when I looked into like the top 10 results, it always had to do with dogs or veterinarians or something to do with animals. So I don't know if I have a liver shunt. When I looked into my trimethylamine levels, they came back normal. So I don't know about that. I would have to speak to a gastroenterologist about that. Maybe if I do deep dive into liver shunts, maybe it is affected by humans. But when you look, at least when I Googled it, it seems as though most of the topics or the listings of that talked about liver shunts had to do with dogs in particular. So I'm doubting I have this liver shunt. I'm doubting that there is that connection. And you're saying that you're telling me that some process, there was some type of study. You didn't list out the study, so I can look into it myself. So that grows even more doubt into what you're saying. Not saying that it hasn't happened, but I would love to see that study that you're suggesting. That's another thing. I hate when people comment about certain things and they're like, oh man, there was a study, there's this video. They say there's this video, there's a study. They don't link the video, they don't link the study, so I can't look into it myself. People say, oh yeah, experts suggest that, blah, 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 blah. Experts, who are the experts? Can you show me a link of this expert talking about this? How do we know he's an expert? For example, I'm out on my rant again. I just hate when people talk about this one YouTuber like Dr. Berg or something, and he keeps like pushing the keto diet. Like, oh yeah, there's this doctor on YouTube named Dr. Art Berg, or is he like, I think his name is Dr. Berg. His name is Dr. Berg. Oh my God, Dr. Berg. He's a genius. He's miraculous. Oh my God. He talks about keto and how it saves lives and blah blah blah. And this guy's like a foot doctor or some shit. You know what I mean? I think he's a foot doctor. He's not a nutritionist. This guy just looks at feet all day, and people like, oh my God, doctor, so he must know what he's talking about. And here's the thing, just because you're a foot doctor, is he a foot doctor? I think he's something like that. He's like a foot doctor, or like a bone doctor, or some shit like that. And it's like, he presents himself as if he is the main source of what nutrition, the main source of what you should do with your health, what you're supposed to do, what type of diet is the optimal diet for human beings. Bruh, you just look at foot all day. You look at feet all day. Why don't I listen to a feet doctor? What are we talking about here, bro? Why don't I just listen to a nutritionist instead of just some foot doctor who's like, man, you should just eat eggs and fucking butter. Like, what? I'm sorry. I need to stay focused. But liver shunting, hopefully you see this video and you post this link to the studies of people doing liver shunting and how it helped them with their T-mouse symptoms. Hopefully you can see this, and then you find the link. You show a video, you show something, because again, with people within these comments, they would just say, oh, experts say this, and then I'm thinking to myself, okay, well, can you show me the expert? Can you show me the article, the video, whatever it was? And they never really show anything. They just say the experts, scientists. Okay, who are the scientists? Can I see myself? You know, they never show anything. But in any case, I think I'm done ranting. I didn't want to rant. I wanted to just answer some questions. 36 minutes, huh? Oh, well, if people get this long into it, then that means you're bored right now. But, yeah, I guess I'll talk to you later. There was actually, I don't know if I should leave the rest of the footage. Apparently, on this particular day, there was supposed to be some type of parade that was happening. I don't know what the parade was about, but there was a parade, and I didn't know this at the time. Well, I did know once I started looking. You know, you see like all these big ass trucks and stuff. I think it has to do with health or something or rather. And there's just lots of trucks and people out and police and all this other stuff. I didn't stick around to look at the parade. I personally didn't give a shit. See, healthcare heroes. I think it has something to do with health or something, some type of weird parade. There's like an Amazon truck there. It's weird. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Maybe I'll leave some footage left so people can look at it. And then Baptist Health. In any case, see you guys later. True though. Yeah.